biggest lockdown in India will be shut.
Asia's third largest economy has undertaken far-reaching measures of any.
Narendra Modi announced a nationwide lockdown which will be enforced at midnight. It will affect 1.3 billion people in the world's second most populous country.
ये तब हुआ जब इंडिया में केसेस थे 2 या 3 हज़ार, मगर जब इंडिया में केसेस है 2 लाख के ऊपर तो भाई साहब इकॉनमी रीओपन कर देंगे। सब लोग ऐसा बाहर निकल गए जैसा कुछ हुआ ही नहीं। मॉल्स खुल गए, रेस्टोरेंट्स खुल गए, रिलीजियस प्लेसेस खुल गए, क्या नहीं खुला, खाली फ़्लाइट्स खुलना बाकी है। तो अब भाई कोई सेंस है इस बात की? थोड़ी बहुत सेंस है, आइए देखते हैं कैसे।
Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Anas, the first second year medical student. Let's talk about the most relevant topic of our times, that is COVID-19. Now you all know how COVID-19 changed our world in a way that was not expected by anyone. We never expected that we'll stay at home for so long. We never expected we'll not go to college anymore. We never expected we won't catch up with our friends anymore. But that's how the situation is today. And honestly, the virus that has caused all this, SARS-CoV-2, is going to stay among humans for a long time to come, probably longer than our lifetimes. And because of all that, there is a lot of uncertainty among people regarding the pandemic and the future. But I hope by the end of the video, some of that uncertainty will go away and you'll get answers to some of the questions you had all along. So please watch till the end. The content of this video is roughly divided into 4 parts, and each part will answer one of the following questions in this order.
First, why is the government unlocking the country even though there are rising number of cases, up to 9,000 per day? Second, when will the spread of COVID-19 stop? What is herd immunity and how do we get there? Third, what are the chances of a person dying if he gets infected? Fourth, what is the most practical solution to COVID-19 in the case of unavailability of a vaccine?
A simple answer to the first question is that the little benefit we obtained from lockdown was not justifiable against the much larger harm it was causing. We were not stopping the spread of COVID-19, we were just delaying it. That too at the cost of livelihoods of millions of people. We would be in the situation we are in today 1 month ago. So delaying the inevitable by 1 month is what we have achieved. One more reason why the authorities are opening up places of gathering is because they are realizing that the fight against COVID-19 can now be only won if instead of shielding people from the virus, they let people get infected in large numbers and then recover. It might seem paradoxical, but if you look from their perspective, it will make sense. Our second question was, when will the spread of COVID-19 stop? Well, we know one thing, that lockdown and contact tracing cannot stop the spread of SARS-CoV-2. And even at some point, if you feel that these measures have contained the spread, once you allow people to resume their normal lives, things will happen all over again. And the best example of this is South Korea. Even the states of Goa, Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura were declared COVID-free at some point, but they are now laden with cases. The spread of COVID-19 will now only stop once we achieve herd immunity. Now, herd immunity is an epidemiological concept wherein when a certain percentage of population, which according to many scientists is 60%, gets immune to the infectious disease, it will not spread to the rest of the population and endanger them. So basically, the people who are immune to the disease will act as a barrier between the infection and the people who are not immune to the disease. Now, there are 3 ways to get herd immunity. First is through large-scale vaccination, but an effective vaccine is still 2 years away from now because normally vaccines take 6 to 10 years in development. Second is due to the spread of the virus on its own because of its infectious nature. This is happening now, but this thing on its own will take decades to give us herd immunity. Third is allowing the spread of the virus deliberately. Even though our best bet against COVID-19 is a vaccine, we can never say for certain when a vaccine will be available. The 2 years time which everyone is talking about is in the most optimistic scenario wherein a vaccine candidate flawlessly passes every step of clinical trials and then gets regulatory approvals and then gets produced in massive quantities. For reference, Ebola vaccine was produced in record time of 5 years whereas it's almost 40 years and we're still waiting for an AIDS vaccine. Coming to our third question, how likely is it that a person is going to die if he gets infected from SARS-CoV-2? Now, according to the official data, the case fatality rate of COVID-19 in India is 2.9%. But what we want to know is not answered by case fatality rate. Why? Let me begin by giving you an example. Till May 23rd, over 3 lakh migrant workers returned to Jharkhand from every other state. And out of 3 lakh migrant workers, around 6% were tested and some of them came out positive. So it was expected that out of the large majority of workers who were not tested, there were still many undetected cases there. But most of them did not develop symptoms and hence never came into the official count of COVID-19 cases. So this scenario is not restricted to one state. It is happening all across India in much more overwhelming numbers now. At this point, it is safe to say that healthy people are being infected by the disease without their knowledge, and the disease is resolving on its own. The US Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, has said that around 35% of all the cases are never detected because they are asymptomatic. But some researchers give it an even higher percentage. Considering the percentage of undetected cases, the CDC for the first time on 22nd May released a new estimate for the overall death rate of COVID-19, which was 0.26%. Now this is called the infection fatality rate, and this is much more realistic and much lesser figure than the previous estimates we had. A 0.26% chance of death is the answer to our question. But if you want a more specific age-related answer, then here are the official statistics of the CDC.
These are the case fatality rates of mild to severe symptomatic cases across various age groups, not to be confused with infection fatality rate. Everything I said is supported by either newspaper articles or research papers, and you can find the link to those in the description.
God forbid, but if you are not able to produce a vaccine against SARS-CoV-2, or if it's going to take decades in its development, it is more feasible that we achieve herd immunity by deliberately infecting healthy people in the young age group over a period of 1 year and letting them recover in quarantine, so that the more vulnerable part of our society, the people who are at much greater risk, are protected. Also, until now, there was no evidence that a recovered person won't get infected again, but recent studies show that reinfection is unlikely. You might argue that healthcare systems will be saturated, but they are already saturated with up to 10,000 new cases per day. We can save maximum number of lives this way, and we would be directing the enemy only to our strongest friend. If we leave the disease to its natural spread, it will indiscriminately infect both healthy and diseased alike, young and old alike, that too taking decades of time. We cannot afford to live our lives in fear, jeopardizing economy, education, pushing millions into poverty, and looking back on decades of hard work, and just because of a virus whose death rate is 0.2%. Thinking about the economy is not always being selfish, because economy makes livelihoods, and better livelihoods translate into meaningful lives. With all that being said, I hope and pray that everyone gets out of this pandemic healthy, and we soon go back to living our normal lives again. If this video added even a little bit of knowledge, please like and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye until next time.